So, good day everyone. We are the group 4 in which we are going to present the global interstate system. So, in this video, we're going to explain the role of international financial institutions in the creation of a global economy. We're going to narrate a short history of global market integration in the 20th century, and also we're going to identify the attributes of global corporations. So, this is for educational use only. Our group is allowing our instructor, Mr. Roldan Ardines, to use this as an educational material.
Good day everyone, good day sir. I'm Engine Cadet Jimenez. I'll tackle about role of international financial institution on economy. So what is international financial institution? International financial institution are financial institutions that have been established by more than one country and hence are subject of international laws. Their owners or shareholders are generally national governments, although other international institutions and other organizations occasionally figure as shareholders. The most prominent IFI are creations of multiple nations, although some bilateral financial institutions exist and are technical IFI. Many of are many of these are multilateral development banks. This report is a joint effort of 31 multilateral and bilateral development institutions that have been significant programs to promote private sector investments and assistance. The content benefited from extensive interchange of ideas and materials among all participating institutions. The report was initiated under the sponsorship of the Private Sector Development Institutions Roundtable, which is an annual meeting of the heads of IFI focusing on private sector development.
International financial institutions play a significant role in supporting the private sector in developing countries by encouraging entrepreneurial initiatives that help developing countries achieve sustainable growth. This role is becoming increasingly important for development institutions, along with more traditional aid and loan programs to governments. This report is a joint effort of 31 multilateral and bilateral development institutions that have significant programs to promote private sector investment and assistance. The content benefited from an extensive interchange of ideas and materials among all participating institutions. The report was initiated under the sponsorship of the Private Sector Development Institutions Roundtable, which is an annual meeting of the heads of IFI focusing on private sector development. First, to reduce global poverty and improve people's living conditions and standards. Second, to support sustainable economic, social, and institutional development. And last, to promote regional cooperation and integrations.
Good day everyone, and good day sir. I am Baron Kent Piapuda, and I'm here to discuss about the history of global market integration in 20th century, and my partner of this topic is Joseph Brian Tugbong. So before we start, I would like to give a brief description about the meaning of the market integration. So, the market integration is a situation in which separate markets for the same product become one single market. For example, when an important tax one of the market is removed, it has been long recognize that the market integration is far from efficient than firm integration. So let's go to the history of global market integration. Before the rise of the modern economy demands, the sector work together, work in order to produce, distribute, and exchange products and services. What caused this shift in the way people produce their needs? Let's go back 12,000 years ago. So there are three revolutions that is an under of the history of the global market integration. First is that agricultural revolution. The first big economic change is the agricultural revolution according to Pomeranz 2000, when the people learned how to be productive than hunter-gatherer societies. So it means that they are productive because of their producing, crop rotation, and selective breeding of livestock farming. So that they cannot be a hunter societies that can hunt their own foods in the nature which is the forest. And this become the new agricultural economy. Farm helped society build surpluses, meaning not everyone had spent their time producing their food. This led to major development like permanent settlement, trade networks, and population growth. By that, farming is very important in trade because of the crops that sell on the market, and by that the advantage of that, the population will easily grow. And the next revolution is industrial revolution. This second major economic revolution in 1800 with rise of industry in new economic tools like steam engines, manufacturing, and mass production came. So in industrial revolution, um, the meaning of this is the process of change from agrarian to handicraft economy to one dominant industry, which is the manufacturing machine industry, which um, they they started to work as a laborer and become more skilled and become master the strength for the chosen fields. Overall, the productivity went up, the standard of living rose, and people access variety and due mass production. Um, I am done with my part, and I'm giving the next topic to Joseph Brian Tugbong.
Good day. I'm Engine Cadet Joseph Brian Tugbong. These are the two competing economic models in industrial revolution. Capitalism. It is a system in which all natural resources and means of production are privately owned. It emphasizes profit maximization and competition as the main drivers of efficiency. This means that when one owns a business, he needs to outperform the competitor if he is going to succeed. He is incentivized to be more efficient by improving the quality of the product and reducing its cost. Socialism. The means of the production are under collective ownership. It rejects capitalism, privately property, and hands-off approaches. In here, property is owned by the government, and it emphasizes collective goals expecting everyone to work for the common good and placing a higher value on meeting everyone's basic need than on individual profit. These are the difference between capitalism and socialism. Capitalism is an economic system where the means of production are owned by the private individuals. However, socialism is the means of production such as money and other forms of capital are owned by the state or public. Next, capitalism. Companies live by the profit motive. They exist to make money. All companies have owners and managers. However, in socialism, under a socialist system, everyone works for wealth that is in turn distributed to everyone. Capitalism. It is the government's job by enforcing laws and regulation to make sure there is a level of playing field or for private run companies. The last difference between capitalism and socialism is the government decides how wealth is distributed among the people. They provide for the people. That's the difference about capitalism and socialism. Information revolution. This is our time, the rise of technology. This reduced the role of human labor and shifted it from a manufacturing-based economy to one that is based on service work and production of ideas rather than goods. This had residual effect on the economy. Computer technology is not the root of this change. The continuing advancement in the technology seemed to ensure that this revolution would touch the life of people. And that's all. And that's the history of global market integration in the 20th century. Thank you.
Good day, everyone. So we will talk about the attributes of global corporations. So I am Engine Cadet Loyloy, and together with Engine Cadet Mejos. So first, what is our agenda? So our agenda is to explain what is global corporation, know the functions and examples of this, and identify the attributes, and of course lastly is the summary. So what is a global corporation? Global corporation is also known as a global company. So it is coined from the base term global, which means all around the world. So it is a large company that operates in many different countries. So also a global company is generally referred to as a multinational corporation or MNC.
Good day, everyone. I'm Engine Cadet Jonas Mejos, and I am here to present about my topic. What is the function of a global company? A global company is a company that operates in two or more countries, leveraging the global environment to approach varying markets in attaining revenue generation. From the word global, it means whole world or worldwide. This company operates not only here in the Philippines but also in other countries all over the world.
So next is I will give an example of a global corporation. So there are many global corporations around the world, but I will only tell or share to you the top corporation or companies. So first is the Apple, and second is the Microsoft. These two are on the top because they earned around $2 billion. So next we have the Saudi Aramco And lastly, in rank 4, we have the alphabet. Now, we will talk about the attributes of global corporation. So we have here 8 important attributes of global corporation. So first is the very high assets and turnover. So of course, the company wants to aim high. That's why they need and must have a large and own huge amount of assets. The next is the network of branches. The corporation have network of branches because it will help them gather information and resources for them to grow. Then in third, there is the control. So there is one head personnel who will control the global corporation because these personnel have the enough knowledge and skills in order to help the company grow. That's what to grow, and it will now go to the number 4, which is continued growth. The corporation or global corporation will continue to grow because of their resources, and they operate in different countries. So the other 4 attributes will be explained by Jonas Mejos. Thank you.
Attributes, characteristics of a global corporation. Sophisticated technology. And the next is the right skills. In a company, the employee must have the right skills to make his or her job well. And the next is forceful marketing and advertising. And the last one is a good quality products. If you have a company, you need to make sure that your products are in a good quality so that your customers will be satisfied. And now, we are here in the last part, which is the summary of our topic. Global corporations. Global corporations are typically large, multinational companies that have a great amount of control over the world. These organizations have the ability to make decisions about what happens in our society and economy. These organizations are motivated to make profit, since that is what they exist for. They have a natural tendency towards expansion and growth. And that's all. We hope that you gained knowledge from our report. Thank you.
Bretton Woods Agreement. What is Bretton Woods Agreement? The Bretton Woods Agreement was reached in a 1944 summit held in New Hampshire, USA, on a site by the same name. The agreement was reached by 730 delegates, who were the representatives of the 44 allied nations that attended the summit. The delegates within the agreement used the gold standards to create a fixed currency exchange rate. History and functions. 44 allied met in Bretton Woods, NH in 1944 for the United Nations Monetary and Financial Conference. At the same time, the world economy was very shaky, and the allied nations sought to meet to discuss and find solutions for prevailing issues that plagued the currency exchange. The summit was also looking for policies and regulations that would maximize the potential benefits and profits that could be derived from the global trading system. What resulted from the conference were the Bretton Woods Agreement and the Bretton Woods system. The collapse of its system. Backing currency by the gold standard started to become a serious problem throughout the late 1960s. By 1971, the issue was so bad that U.S. President Richard Nixon gave notification that the ability to convert the dollar to gold was being suspended temporarily. The move was inevitably the final straw of the system, and the agreement was outlined it. Still, there were several attempts by representatives, financial leaders, and governmental bodies to revive the system and keep the currency exchange rate fixed. However, by 1973, nearly all major currencies had begun to float relatively toward one another, and the entire system eventually collapsed. significance of the agreement. Despite falling apart, the Bretton Woods Summit and Agreement are responsible for a number of notably important aspects in the financial world. First and foremost is the creation of the IMF and the World Bank. Both institutions remain vital to the global economy to this day. On larger scale, however, the agreement unified 44 nations from around the world, bringing them together to solve a growing global financial crisis. It helped to strengthen the overall world economy and maximize international trade profit.
The Bretton Woods System. In summary, the Bretton Woods Agreement established a system through which a fixed currency exchange rate could be created using gold as the universal standard. So, Bretton Woods system unified rules and policy that provided framework necessary to create fixed international currency exchange rates. Essentially, that agreement called for the newly created IMF to determine the fixed rate of exchange for currencies around the world. Second is the agreement involved representatives from 44 nations and brought about the creation of International Monetary Fund, IMF, and the World Bank. Bretton Woods Summit and Agreement are responsible for a number of notable important aspects in financial world on a larger scale. However, the agreement of unified 44 nations around the world, bringing them together to solve a growing global financial crisis. So third is the fixed currency exchange rate system eventually failed. However, it provided much needed stability at the time of its creation. So every presented country assumed the responsibility of upholding the exchange rate with incredibly narrow margins above and below.